We will go ahead and get started. So want to first start by introducing myself. Brett Miller here at Modal, run operations. I've been with the company for just over 3 years, and it's been really exciting to be able to participate in sharing dealer success stories and learning how dealers have evolved with digital retailing and e-commerce over the past couple of years. So we're really excited to have this discussion with Yonkers Honda. Yonkers Honda is a dealer based in Yonkers, New York. They launched with us in June of 2020. So just a few months back as we were rolling out the American Honda digital retailing program. And in just a short period of time, and we're going to hear about this from our speakers today, but they're earning 10% higher F&I gross, they're telling us, on new cars for Modal orders as compared to the other sources that they're getting from, in terms of leads at the dealership. In addition to the higher F&I gross, they've also increased sold units by 40% month over month. So if you compare their sold units through Modal in July compared to those in June, they're seeing a 40% increase month over month. So pretty phenomenal in such a short period of time to see that kind of increase. And then they've also achieved 24% closing ratio for all of the orders that Modal's sending in to Yonkers Honda. So all of these numbers that we're looking at, we're going to talk a little bit more about them. But before we jump into learning a little bit about how Yonkers Honda set themselves up and achieve this kind of success, I want to introduce our speakers today. So first and foremost, we have Jackie Feinberg, who is the owner or principal at Yonkers Honda. She's the 4th generation of Yonkers Motors, officially has been working at the dealership for 3 years. And Jackie's focus at the store is really to drive the business towards technological solutions like Modal. She also has a background coming from digital media and did a recent rotation through NADA's dealer school program. So very excited to welcome Jackie and looking forward to the discussion with her today. And in addition to Jackie, we also have Aisha Trinidad. Aisha is the BDC Manager at Yonkers Honda, the youngest manager at Yonkers Honda to date. So that's sort of exciting. You can imagine when embracing a digital retailing tool, someone who's young, possibly a millennial, it's really exciting to see her take the reins and really make Modal a part of their process in the BDC. Prior to joining Yonkers, she worked in the auto industry for 2 years, moved up from a representative to the assistant BDC manager, and now manager in just 4 short years. So she's worn a few different hats, but primarily focused in the BDC. Oversees a team of 3 and provides insights on endemic partner performance and ensures a positive customer experience. So we'll talk to both Jackie and Aisha, and you can see mix of backgrounds from both of them about what they've experienced so far with Modal. So I will go ahead and get started. Before I jump into the Q&A portion, Jackie, Aisha, want to introduce yourself or say anything before we jump into the chat portion of this?
I'm good. If my internet cuts out at any point, I'll switch to my hotspot. So let me know if it's choppy. But I have nothing to add. I'm ready to get into it.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's go. I know dealers have a lot to do, so we can keep pushing ahead.
Sounds good. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. So, one of the things that we all have heard about probably in the industry as it relates to digital retailing is that transparency is key. People go on your websites, they want to start the online purchase because they want the convenience factor and they want to do it at the comfort of their own home. And many dealers approach this differently, right? When they're launching a digital retailing tool, they're going to approach the setup and the rollout of that slightly differently. But one thing I wanted to start with today, to help other dealers think about what Yonkers Honda has done is, help us understand what you do differently at your store to deliver this modern e-commerce experience that we often talk about and hear about in the industry.
To be perfectly candid, I don't think we provide that modern of an experience. We've been the type of dealer where we have really strong salespeople, we have strong sales managers, and we just want the customer coming in and we can close the deal from there. And so I don't think that we have been, I think slowly we've been pushing to become more modern, try out different vendors. I know we've worked with things like Dealer Science in the past. We even tried like Roto and things like that. But I still feel like we haven't, or I guess the real modern experience has just been having our BDC really work internet leads, having endemic partners that can, maybe show some pricing, but really drive to our website. I think we're still kind of doing things as we always have been, with tweaks here or there. And I think Modal has been one of our forays into a more modern experience. So that's why I was excited to work with them and to be on this Fireside chat, because Modal really is, in my opinion, our first real modern experience.
You said a couple things there that a lot of our dealer partners think about when we talk about modernizing the experience. What does that really mean, right? In a digital landscape or digital world. You mentioned pricing, you mentioned websites. So even if today you feel like Yonkers Honda doesn't quite have that modern experience you're looking for, what are some of the elements you might be thinking about in the future to try and deliver a more modern experience? Maybe it's in your process or with some of the marketing you do. So what are you guys thinking about to modernize that over time, or as you partner with us even deeper?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's a really good vision question, and trying to think of what is the vision of our dealership over the next few years in relating to technology, where we're even just starting to do more e-contracting, which just kind of reflects on where we're at. But I really view in the future where most of our deals will have been completed before people walk into the showroom. The majority of them should be that way, and where our salespeople are becoming more like internet BDC people in that way, and internet BDC becomes more like salespeople. That it could be a mixture of what the responsibilities of our salespeople look like, and making things really convenient, easy to do from home, transparent, that works for both the dealers and the customer. And so my view is that we can handle more things without coming into the actual physical dealership. That's my vision, and hopefully we can get there. And I think that's what a lot of people expect. Like, even when I was, in the height of the pandemic, when I was stuck in my New York City apartment, I was like, oh, maybe I should move out into the suburbs. Or, I went on Zillow and all those types of apps, and they would allow you to calculate what your mortgage would look like, and just give you an idea. So I think that even with major purchases, like a house, like a car, and a lot of people will expect those types of processes and solutions. So I think for Yonkers Honda, just getting to a point where we can do a lot of it from home, and especially with a workforce that may want to work from home, where we have a salesperson that is young and wants to do 3 or 4 days in the office and a couple of days working leads from home and doing deals from home. I think it can reflect our future workforce as well.
That's really interesting. We've all been thinking about this from the consumer standpoint, which, as we know, as dealers and partners to dealerships, that's important. But you said something there that's really interesting that I hadn't heard before, which is, how do we think about employee retention and making their workplace a little more flexible where previously it hadn't been? So that's kind of exciting. Really cool that you guys are already starting to think about things like that beyond the consumer experience. So looking at, the next discussion point, when you started working with us, a lot of dealers ask us, well, what should I be looking at? What benchmarks do I need to hit? What are my measurements of success? So for Yonkers Honda, when you began a couple months ago, what were your goals? What were you guys setting out to do? And what did you want to accomplish with Modal?
Our goal, it was to really establish a foundation for digital retailing that we can build upon. So we weren't expecting, 10% of our deal should be through Modal or driving our customers solely through that. It was really to make sure that we're in a place that we can eventually scale up or be able to adapt with the times. And it's just more, we need to be in a position that as the market trends continue to move a certain way, even if it might be slowly at first, that we're ready at any time to expand our process, make sure that we have something in place for eventual demand. So our goal was pretty basic, just to establish it. So.
I mean, and it's a really good point you make, because a lot of times dealer partners will ask us, well, what should my lead volume be, order volume, completion rate? And though we would love to give some formulaic equation for every single dealer, you're stating a few things that are really important to consider when you start and think about launching a digital retailing tool and partnering with someone. You have to tailor your goals with the customer success management team at Modal or whatever partner you choose to work with. It's really important that when you begin, you have that conversation and you define as a partner what you want that success to look like, because maybe you're going to be focused on the percentage of orders that come through online. And in that case, you'd probably have all your BDC team making sure that all of your phone ups go through the digital flow first before you have them come into store. Or maybe you really just want to improve your CSI scores, right? All of these are measurements of success. And so it's great to hear from you some of the elements you're looking for. For you, it sounds like it's a little bit about let's get a baseline, let's deliver a better customer experience, and then we can build from there.
Yeah, and I think all the metrics that you mentioned, after we get 6 months of data, especially in a really strange year, we can really see what are our goals starting in 2021. Where can we kind of look at month over month in the summertime and in the wintertime, and what do we expect, and how can we have our marketing manager have goals for their campaigns to drive orders through Modal, or like you said, BDC, and Aisha being able to have input on that and being able to tell us, oh, hey, actually we could filter more customers through that. We all feel really comfortable doing that. And she'll speak more to that in a minute. But yeah, first getting the baseline, and then next year we'll go into detail.
Yeah, it's important, right? You've got to start somewhere. And I think oftentimes dealers think they're going to hit home runs and grand slams right out of the gate. So it's just important to work with your partner, establish those baselines, and make sure that you guys are constantly talking about success together. You said something in there that I think is super important. So maybe it's a good time to switch it over to Aisha. A lot of times process becomes a key thing and a key indicator of success. So Aisha, maybe talk to us about how online buying fits into your overall BDC process.
Sure. Really, at first, our issue, it's always been an issue for dealerships. So it's known an issue that, shopping, customers are always shopping numbers. They're always kind of trying to avoid sitting in a dealership for hours. So when we, kind of partner with Modal, it was amazing, because it was an option that we could give the customers. Instead of sitting here for hours, you could do everything from home. So it's easier for us as a BDC because we have something to offer them, instead of saying, nope, you have to come in. Nope, you have to be here in person to get pricing, or you have to be here to be able to buy the car. I feel like now, as a society, we're moving more into technology. You could even buy anything online nowadays. So as a BDC team, it's beautiful to be able to say, listen, you could actually buy your car directly from our website. You don't have to be worried about when you come in, prices are going to switch, that you're going to come in and it's not going to be the car that you picked out, because, we have a whole entire team working for you. And that's really what we focus on. It's like you ask us through the buying process online, through Modal, through our website, you asked us what you want, and that's exactly what you're going to get. And I think customers really love that. They love the fact that they're able to do it themselves instead of sitting in front of a salesperson, going back and forth and just not getting anywhere, instead of just doing it themselves. I think that's really what has helped us as a dealership and as a BDC, that we have the opportunity to be able to offer that and let them know, like, hey, there's no games, there's no tricks, everything is straightforward. And I think that's the most beautiful part about having this as a BDC, and really our conversion rate in the sense of getting customers information is, it has changed because people are interested in doing it themselves instead of having someone trying to convince them and, you know, make them feel uncomfortable or whatever the case is. So it has really helped us in the sense of getting customers information, making sure that we have someone to call and someone to pretty much talk to, because they see the process that they could buy it online, so they go for it. They don't have any doubts, they don't have any concerns about it.
Are you guys thinking about, metrics around phone ups and appointments set from leads in store, shifting any of those? Or, if you maybe had a target or a goal for appointments set, are you guys thinking about how you may shift some of your goals to pushing more people through the process? You mentioned that you guys like that. Yeah. Okay. So you guys are thinking about goals like that.
Of course. I always have my team, like, for example, if they're just not interested in coming in, I always push them to offer that, to trying to convert a lead. And if they don't want to give their information, if they just want pricing, I tell my team, just go ahead and walk them through our buying online process. And half of the time they just sit on the phone and they actually do it with us on the phone. So it's not like they're just like, okay, bye. No, we actually walk them through it. We offer them the option of doing it themselves, and it turns into a lead that we could actually get the customer's information, someone who was not having it, not wanting to speak to us at all. So it's a good thing to have and to have on your website, just so you could offer something else if they're not really up to giving any type of information or sitting with you on the phone unless you give them pricing. So it has helped us with conversion in the sense of getting customers information as well. Yes.
Aisha brings up a good, she mentioned something about customers really being able to input their own information. And I do want to stress that there are kind of two ways you can have control, both on the dealer side and the customer side. On the dealer side, you can always control your own pricing. You don't have to give your grosses away. You can adjust by model on what you're showing. And we have been profitable on these deals, and letting customers have some control with menu pricing, same thing like in F&I, picking which package they want to go through. They're more likely to convert a sale that way. And same thing with Modal, they're able to adjust their monthly payment that is still fair to the customer and to the dealer. So I think that was a good point that Aisha brought up about the control a customer can have, but still under our control as well.
Yeah. It was always kind of a fear to our sales manager to have a loser deal, but it's just amazing that we could actually go on the back end and control what prices we were able to give, and what's the most that we could lower our prices as well. So that's also a plus to having that on our website.
Yeah, you guys are saying a few things that I love. A lot of dealer partners often fear digital retailing is going to take away their grosses. It's going to change the conversation. It gives too much power to the consumer. But from what I've heard from you guys today, it sounds like, no, it's just an option, and dealers love it when they do want to buy this way. Here's how we're utilizing. That's kind of what I'm hearing from you guys, and it's great to hear.
I mean, it's the same thing. We're advertising our prices online anyway. We're already doing these things. So to even have someone go further through the process, and being able to, it's stuff that we're already doing, but this in a way actually gives us more control, because there's a lot more that goes into this modal feature than just advertising 0 down, all that stuff that we're already doing.
Yeah, great. To everyone on the call, if you do have questions, you can post them in chat and we'll go ahead and try to answer those. So a couple more questions here. We're in a pandemic. A lot of dealer partners have really looked at digital retailing as maybe a critical part of their business and how they can interface with customers. How has COVID-19 affected you guys at Yonkers Honda?
I know Aisha has some thoughts on this, of where we initially had scale, in the peak of the pandemic, really scaled down our BDC, which was a huge mistake. And we had really depended on call, text, email, tried to do remote sales, quicker deliveries. And the BDC, once we brought them back at a more full-time capacity, really helped us facilitate those remote sales. But as New York, I don't know where everybody else is on this call, but as New York has rebounded a bit, we've kind of come back to a more typical state of business with just a lot more safety precautions. I think we could definitely do more remote sales again, but at least we now have a process in place that should things in the market or in our nation change, we'll be ready for those disruptions because of this foundation. So we've kind of returned to normal a bit, but at least we can quickly adapt.
Yeah, and I think you'll see a lot of dealers have told us as well they're returning to normal, but what they've realized in situations that may be out of their control, online buying can be an option for customers and that you and the customers enjoy. So it's good to hear you guys are returning back to normal. Hopefully, online checkout, digital retailing still becomes a core component for you.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so the last thing, we often talk to our partners and they ask us, what are other customers doing to get the message out there, right? How are they marketing this? What is Yonkers Honda either doing today or thinking about in terms of marketing this to your customers and a broader customer base potentially?
Yeah, so we have a marketing manager, and when we first worked with Modal, we launched a social media campaign on Facebook and Instagram. Just quick 1, 2, 3. Here's how easy it is, and to drive to our website. And from that campaign, we found that the age group 25 to 34 engaged most with it. So it's a reflection of how potential customers are expecting these options. They're expecting an ability to do things from their phone, just like me and just like a lot of people here. And so as we're going to continue to really use social media as our tool of encouraging maybe people who didn't really know about this before, or maybe weren't even in the market necessarily, and encouraging those demographics to know that we have e-commerce available in the auto industry.
So you mentioned a lot about some social media campaigns. Are you guys doing retargeting at all?
Not yet, and that's just more of us thinking about our budgeting, but it's definitely something that we should do, especially for especially the data that Modal provides us, that our own CRM provides us, that we could definitely utilize that in retargeting. We should be doing that. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, look, like you said, it's about establishing your baseline, getting a few things off the ground, and then coming around to putting on the additional touches and optimizations. And we've just heard it's a great, driver of success for people who do engage with the tool. So I was just curious if you guys are doing it. Sounds like you have plans to do so. Are there any questions from anyone on the audience? You can unmute yourself or just post in chat, whatever you're more comfortable with, before we wrap up with Jackie and Aisha.
Hello.
Hello there.
Anton Sempervivo from Metro Honda and Honda of Toms River. How you guys doing?
Oh, hey, Anton.
Hey, Jackie. How you doing? Thanks for doing this, by the way. Great stuff.
I didn't know you were going to be on here. I wouldn't have done it.
Oh, yeah. So my question is this. Did you have, when you started basically putting, more access at your customers' fingertips, any type of challenges to overcome where that same customer could go to some of your competition and basically create a situation where it was more difficult to potentially retain your customer because they're like, well, this dealership is doing this for me and they're giving me this rate. And you would wind up in actually more of a confusing volley rather than being able to try to set an appointment, bring the customer in and show them a true experience at your dealership.
Aisha, did you have any customer from what? And I guess at the same, isn't that just a natural like shopping
Of
environment.
course.
But
Of course.
did you
Our
experience that, Aisha, at all, or?
our
Yeah, let
customers
me
are
put a
always
finer.
trying are
Go ahead.
always our customers are always trying to shop, but I believe that once they see that we're there, we're available to help them, I don't think they really decide to go anywhere else. Our dealership is very different in the sense of that. Our customers are very, very, very loyal. So once they're already there, it's like they're ready. You know, they want to do this. They don't have any second thoughts or doubts. So it's like they're really loyal. I don't think I've ever had that experience in the sense where they're like, well, I'm gonna go somewhere else. Once we start the process, they always stay with us.
Is your goal still with your customers that you're dealing with, more online from what you guys are saying? Is it harder to set an appointment with them? Are you trying to do the deal to get to 100% and then deliver the car? Like, is your model still based, say, in an appointment setting mentality?
Of course. At the end of the day, we still treat them like a normal lead in the sense of that we still want to get them through the door. It's just an offer to pretty much not have any gimmicks or any type of games being played. Sometimes they just want to, feel safe in the sense of that they don't want to spend a lot of time here. So we give them the option to start it and then finish it when they're in store. Once they start doing the process, they already know that they have to come in. So it's like they call us, or we call them and we let them know, listen, we're processing this. As soon as we have an answer, we'll have a date and time for you to come in, and they're okay with that.
Yeah, and there was one of my sales people, she told me a story where a customer came in. I don't even know, I'd have to check if it was an appointment even made by our BDC, but they came in and just handed over their license to us. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to pick up. And that was actually pretty rare. They had submitted everything through Modal, and it was just easy to tie everything up by the end of it. But I feel like we're still not in the place where it's totally remote yet. And I think we're just really using it as more of an option and emphasizing the option piece of it.
Great. Thank you, guys. Jackie, tell your pop I said hello.
I will. He'll get a kick that you were on the call. You can let him know how I did.
Absolutely. A+.
And for those, we are over time, but we have a couple more questions. For those that need to hop off, please feel free. So one question, Jackie and Aisha, that just came in. Have you received any feedback from your finance department specifically about online ordering?
Yeah, of course. I actually have worked with the finance managers hand to hand on it, and they love it. It's pretty easy to get through all the information if it's completed. It's just pretty much submitting it. Of course, if you have the permission of the customer. And it's 1, 2, 3. It's not hard whatsoever. They have a specific platform that they could look up the information and just submit it through the bank directly.
Yeah, and we also have our own warranty company, so we're able to show the packages from our company during the online buying process. So they're able to even choose and read the descriptions before they come in as well. So I don't have the percentage of the people that fully do that, if they check mark, okay, maintenance plan or key replacement, whatever it is. You're planting the seed throughout that online buying process as a nice potential layup for F&I.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing you guys hit on that's super important, we often hear from our partners that they're worried about the finance component to this, right? That they're going to lose money. And I think, Jackie, you hit something on the head, which is you're really just exposing them to product more throughout the process so that you give your department a little bit more, an easier layup, if you will. It's not a complete layup, but it's easier, right? Really great to hear you're getting positive feedback from the finance department as well. Thank you to Jackie and Aisha for joining us today. We really appreciate you sharing your experience and the insights you guys have had throughout the last couple months. And for everyone who joined the call, thank you again for joining today. Any follow-up questions, please feel free to email success@modal.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.